should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What's happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and I'm very big on promoting the local comedy scene here in Tampa Bay. So I'm going to have this guest introduce himself because he's got such a big head, he might as well do it. Who are you and why are you here?
Ryan Hoppe. I'm here. This is Jonas. Finally here live. It feels good to be here, Ryan.
It does, man. It took forever to book.
Correct.
You're busy. I'm busy.
This is true.
There's just 24 hours in a day. It was fucking impossible.
Yes, you're busy, man. I'm going to be honest with you, too. And I told you this earlier. I'm not crazy about doing these like I used to be. You understand? So if I got to do it, it has to be with the right person, brother.
What happened? Why are you burnt out of podcasts, man? What happened with you?
You know what, man? The issue is I feel like a lot of people don't understand that radio is a craft.
Yeah.
It's a real craft. It's something you have to invest in.
Yeah.
And it takes time to develop that and actually care for it. So it's kind of the same way. So when I do a few of them, it's not like I can just sit it and just watch through because I'm literally watching the guy and I'm just like, no, you don't understand how the flow is and just whatnot. And so and sometimes it could backfire on me as well.
Howard says it the best when I listen to him in the morning. He says that there's a lot of people on Sirius XM, and I'm not comparing myself to that, but there's so many guys that are famous celebrities or athletes that think they can just turn on a mic and just do radio. And that's how I think podcasts are getting so watered down is everybody claims, oh, I have a radio show on the internet. Shut the fuck up. You have a podcast, so do I. You never hear me say best local internet radio show.
Correct.
It's called a podcast because the radio's never on the internet, so shut your mouth.
Correct. And that right there tells me that certain people just don't know the difference. That's enough right there to tell me.
Or they're trying to overcompensate, and they want to seem cool.
That too. But either way, that lets me know that, okay, I might be sitting in with someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, and I don't want to be there.
When you're a comedian and you're sitting in on a podcast and it's not going well, like David Weingarten's really good.
David Weingarten is phenomenal.
I would hope I'm pretty good, but when you're on a podcast that isn't going well and you're a comedian, how do you make it work?
Oh, man. I used to, starting off, I used to get so nervous about it that I would just start, like, running bits. I would just start running pieces of my own material through. And that turned out okay. That worked iffy and out because you're just itching for some kind of reaction. But now, the way I handle it now, honestly, is I just sit there and just let the ship crash. Like, I have no problem sitting there and letting that ship crash. Not in the slightest bit.
When is the moment when you realize that the podcast is going south?
Man. You know what? I think some of the greatest people doing it today, of course, they've been doing it for a while. But really, I started to realize it was going south when a lot of the topics were kind of the same thing. When a lot of the topics were kind
How's the weather? What's your take on Trump?
Yes. And what's happening now is the people who are not good at it, they're actually allowing blank spaces. And what I mean by that is there'll be a point in the discussion where there's no conversation. Like the listener can hear the awkward silence.
The dead air.
Yes.
I love the dead air.
And it's like, no, you understand, that's you understand, like, you don't ever hear that, Ryan? You don't hear the podcast now when it's like there it is.
I'm being sarcasm. I'm not being serious. I don't like that air.
Yeah, okay. You sounded like a fan of it.
I love dead air. I love awkward radio. I love when a podcast is shitty. That's what I go for in life, Jonas. Of course I'm not being serious.
So the chemistry, of course, is important. And so, I mean, I just feel like that's the responsibility of the person running it to do the research and put it on as well.
So besides going on awful podcasts like this one, what else have you been up to lately?
Oh, man, brother. Grinding, doing shows. I'm working right now. Shout out to Karmatic Studios on putting together a series of shorts. We're getting those down and together. Now what we have coming up, a few shows coming up, couple of projects. We have next week I'll be at Bula Cafe. They're finally getting themselves back up and running with the improv group. I'll be there next week. April 24th, Adrenaline Junkie show, myself along with Rio Paris, who you've had on this show.
Dude, Rio is one of the most genuine
Yes.
and funniest guys
Yes.
I've ever met.
Yes.
I will put him up against any headliner. He is so goddamn funny. I love Rio Paris.
That is
dude.
a sincere heart. That really is. And so that's one of my brothers. So, I'll be doing that along with Rio Paris at April 24th, Adrenaline Junkies. And then May 25th, I'll be over at the Tampa Improv.
I love talking to Rio, too, because he has that very genuine where he's listening and he nods his head. He's like, yeah, yeah. Like, he's actually listening to you. He's not sidetracked. He's not looking at his phone. He's giving you that eye contact where you know he's listening clearly. You know what I mean?
Yes, he's very in tune with it. And the thing about Rio is that he can't, I don't think he can fake it to your face.
Oh, of course not.
He can't fake it to your face. And so he's another one of those dudes, like, if you were to sit in on this radio show and you weren't Ryan Hoppe,
He'd be like, why are you being a shock jock?
yes, it wouldn't be good. He can't hide that. And so that's one of the reasons I love him so much.
Are you the same way where you just have to be honest even in weird situations?
I'm slowly getting there. I wasn't always like that, but I'm slowly becoming that.
You're getting more confident.
Yeah, more confidence, and I'm realizing it's just easier. It's so much easier than faking it. Ryan, it's so much easier. You're happier. It's good for your health. You understand? You filter out the people you don't need in your life.
Yeah.
And it's just better that way. It's just so much better that way.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I get approached by a lot of comedians, and there's certain names that just keep on liking my posts over and over. And it's like, I've never heard of you. I can't see any videos. I see what you're doing. I'm not saying my show's great, but I can tell they want to get on. But if you have no material, I'm not just going to have anyone on. That's me being real. Is I need to have people that are funny on. It's not just a free-for-all, you know?
Correct. You got to protect yourself.
Jared Waters bitched to me about that. He went off on me at the phone about when I had someone on. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you had fucking Jim Norton on. Why are you having this dude on? And the dude did great, but Jared was giving me a point. Don't just let anyone on.
You can't. And you know why he's like that, though. You know why he chewed you up, because he actually believes you can take it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he's like that. Now, I'm telling you, if you were trash, he wouldn't have told you that, and I would not be here. So,
yeah.
So, that's definitely a good thing. That's a good sign. That means you'll be okay, Ryan.
Has he given you any advice? Because Jared Waters is like the same age as all of us. How old are you?
I am 24.
Yeah, so you're just 2 years older than me. He's like 27. But what's weird is he has the mind of like a wise old man. It is so bizarre. He doesn't drink when you go out, and he's just so smart.
He doesn't. He
insane.
Doesn't. He is. In the comedy scene, he is the Yoda of the comedy scene.
Well, he sends you Yoda memes whenever you text him.
He's just like this awesome short dude. He just sits all, just on your shoulder and just saying wise things. He speaks in scripture.
What I love, too, is when I asked him about going to school, he never told me that he played college football. Like, he just leaves that out.
No.
He's so humble. That's what I love about him, too.
No, he's going to let you find that out.
Yeah.
Only if you need to know. A lot of people don't know 2 Chainz played college basketball.
Well, no one should know that because 2 Chainz is fucking terrible.
Right. Actually, I like 2 Chainz. I think he's cool. I think that's cool peoples.
I know. Is he the one that did Rich as Fuck with Lil Wayne?
Yes.
Okay, then that song's fine. Besides that,
really,
I love Rich as Fuck, dude.
Dude, are you into rap like that, Ryan?
I listen to way too much rap, dude. Like, I saw Pearl Jam this week. And I got free tickets after I worked an event with The Bone. Mm-hmm. Dude, I couldn't tell you one song. It just made me realize I'm so wrapped up in, like, the hip-hop and EDM world that I don't know shit about music.
Really?
I know nothing.
Okay. At least you're honest with you. There's room to grow, Ryan. You understand? There's room to grow, and you can build from that. And, it won't come to a complete end. It's just... might have to brush up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, though.
I mean, you heard me before we went on because we're in this room. It has surround sound here at the production room, which I'm glad they let me use here at Cox Media. And I'm not
by the way, shout out to Cox Media, too, as well.
Yeah.
As well. #1 media group in Tampa Bay.
One of the best in all of America.
Yes.
They have homegrown talent, and they care about you, and they have the best programming in all of America.
Correct. And it's like a warm environment here too. I've been in some media buildings where it's like the radio jocks, like they walk across each other and you can tell like they're trying to cut each other's throats off. Like, it's crazy. It's intense. and it's
I've
like warmth
worked
here.
with narcissists before, and it's how can you take yourself so seriously? You work in radio. It's not here in town. Nobody. Everybody at Cox Media is so genuine and so gracious.
Yeah. Now,
But
can I
my
ask you
previous
something, though?
gig, when you work with a narcissist, it's just good riddance, dude.
Now, let me ask you something. I've always wanted to know this, Ryan, and I'm sure many of your listeners, they probably feel the same way. I've always wanted to know, why is it that so many like radio jocks are ugly? Like you never see them in real life. You understand?
Yeah.
But you hear their voice, you know their voice, and they sound like they would be decent. But then, like you see the picture, and you're like, oh, damn, that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't see that coming.
I think it's because you want to be a part of the entertainment business. You want to do something, if it's theater, TV, music, or comedy or radio, but you're not good looking enough to do any of them, and you're self-conscious about your looks. So hiding behind the mic is the best way to do it.
Wow. So now, how important is it that you then, would you consider the voice behind the radio has to be developed? Because I'm asking because I was listening to Howard Stern, and he was talking about how for years he was self-conscious about his voice, and he always felt like it wasn't good and that he had to develop it. And it's like, how would somebody doing radio know that my voice doesn't sound good right now?
What I love about Howard is he's so genuine in the fact that his net worth is $400 million, but he talks about how when the executives at Sirius are complimenting him, he doesn't believe it and how he has to go to therapy. I go to therapy too, and it's like you can relate to him. Even though he is filthy rich, that's why he is one of the greatest of all time, is he's so genuine. That's what I like, is the non-hacks in radio. They have to make fun of people.
Correct.
That's why I like Opie and Jimmy. That's why I like Howard. I like the real guys. Bennington.
Yeah.
That's what I love, man.
Charlemagne, shout out to him. You had him on.
I couldn't believe he came on. It was insane. All I had to do was send him a tweet. I said, hey, man, would you want to come on my show? He adds me back and says, here's my person's email, whatever it's called. Send her an email and we'll hook it up. Couldn't believe it.
Me, Jared, and Rio were sitting around the table and we were trying to figure out how you got that guy on your radio station. You understand? And Jared told me like that's how you did it, and that is because even then they're not gonna. Not anybody can just do that.
Yeah.
You got to have something legit to prove to take you serious.
I think he looked at my account and saw that I have a decent enough following, you know?
Correct, especially for Tampa Bay. You understand?
Oh, I love this area, dude. Do you notice that this area is legit for growing talent, if it's comedy or radio, you know?
Correct. But the problem is,
What's the problem?
there needs to be something established here to keep that talent. You understand?
Are they leaving?
Yeah. A lot of them leave. They realize. I realize that with music too, and it's not just comedians, but I realize that with like a lot of the talented musicians, they leave.
But what's the problem? Everybody leaves their town if you get big.
Yeah, that's true. That's true to a degree. But on the flip side, I feel like you should have to do that. But I understand why.
Yeah.
Me and Rio and Jared, we went and we did an audition for NBC. And it was kind of crazy because we go in and we do this audition, we do our shtick, and then at the end of it, we found out, wait, what we were auditioning for, they already had everybody figured out. They already figured, like, they know who they wanted, and they were all in either LA or New York.
How heartbreaking is that?
Oh, it was crushing. It was crushing. It was well, to me, I was just disappointed. Rio's gonna get mad because I'm gonna put him on blast right now.
Do it. Rio Paris, if you're listening, you're about to clench your fist at Jonas.
So there was a situation where it was me, Jared, and Rio. We were the only 3 comics from Tampa Bay going to this audition. Everybody else there were either from Atlanta or they were from like Mississippi or like somewhere super far. And we go in, we do the audition, and we leave. And one of the judges is a working comic, Tone Bell. And anyway, so we go ahead and do it, and we're sitting outside and we're waiting, and then we find out the news that, wait, we're kind of wasting our time. We drove out here for nothing. They already have it all figured out. Rio, we're all disappointed. We're ready to walk away. Rio Paris absolutely loses it. He absolutely loses it. He loses it in front of everyone. And then after that, ask the judge, Tone Bell, to come outside so he can meet him, so he can whoop that ass. Now the The NBC rep in the comedy club steps outside. She hears Rio, steps outside, and Rio's telling her to bring the judges out here so we can handle it. And the NBC rep like runs back inside and never comes back out again. And everybody is all looking at us like, yo, those Tampa Bay guys are crazy. And we're all just like, wait, that's just him. We're good.
Yeah, we're
him.
normal. It's just Rio.
I
Don't
promise.
worry.
Like, call me back. Like, it's just it was the richest experience ever.
Do you think that Tampa Bay is underlooked just because it's a transplant city and it's got a lack of culture? I mean, if you guys were from Chicago, New York, L.A.,
correct,
you would be looked at, but not.
Well, speaking for comedy, I've come to realize, like when I do shows outside of Florida, I'm coming to realize that saying you're a comic from Florida is not a good thing. People just assume the worst. But yeah, I think that could be it too, because it's a transplant city. But I also don't. Again, there's just nothing that sustains people here. Develop their own style.
Florida's weird overall.
Yeah. But I'm reading these articles in terms of finding out that Hollywood is actually trying to shoot more movies in Tampa, because they just shot a movie here with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
And shout outs to that. And then they also they're shooting a movie about Ybor City, apparently in Atlanta. Apparently, there's just not enough professionals here in Tampa.
What's it on, GayTube.com?
No. It's real professional. It's cheaper to shoot a movie here. For example, The Punisher. They ran the numbers comparing to shooting it in LA. It's just cheaper. Florida supports businesses, big businesses. It's better.
Yeah.
However, when they shoot these movies, they need things like extras. They need the scenery. They need real professionals locally who could come in and support these films, and it's not here in Tampa. It's not here.
Yeah, it's very weird how Tampa Bay's got legit talent, but I think the problem with the area is you have all these bridges. So St. Pete, Sarasota, Newport Richey, Tampa Bay, it's way too separated. But if you go to like Los Angeles or Chicago, the suburbs are closer, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And Tampa Bay, I feel like it's so wide as well. That's including St. Pete. Could you say
Downtown Tampa's kind of bland too.
I think I'm gonna be
Fergs
honest.
is fun. I mean,
I think all downtown areas of every city is kind of bland, because I just feel like it's just show. It's just to show, hey, we can do big buildings. I think that's all downtown.
what about like Chicago and New York?
Yeah, but with the parts that you're seeing are not really there. You understand? Like it's not. New York is the exception.
Chicago is too.
Chicago, yeah, is an exception.
Los Angeles is not. Los Angeles is nothing.
Yeah, but for the most part, with the exception of those cities, everywhere else, it's like you go to Orlando, you go to downtown Orlando. I mean, downtown, like the buildings and stuff. It's like, yeah, you got Wall Street, and that's about it. It's just for show. But the real things where everything is at is actually outside of that. It's not where the buildings are.
Yeah, it's just the thing to drive by to go, hey, you're in Charlotte.
Yep.
Hey, you're in Atlanta. And then you just cruise by and you're done. It's weird. I worked in Cleveland, and it's funny how a lot of these cities, if it's not Chicago, Los Angeles, or New York City, you just drive by and you're done.
That's it.
Drive by Tampa, drive by St. Pete, drive by Cleveland, drive by Cincy. Any city in America, you drive by. Indianapolis, you just go, whoop, and you're done. You know?
That's it. I mean, that's kind of the point. Now, I do feel like certain parts of certain cities serve a purpose. It could be separated that way and serve a purpose. But outside of that, I don't think, not at all, not in the slightest bit. I don't think that much of everything is happening. Like when I went to Atlanta, stuff wasn't happening where the big buildings were. They were like in the outskirts and like the sketchy areas. You had to go. You understand? Like when I went out to, for example, New York, dudes doing like shows in like basements, like dingy basements, and like you wouldn't know. You'd look outside and be like, hell no, I'm not going in that building. But then you finally go inside and you go down like 2 flights of steps till like your ears pop. And finally, you're in a basement, and there's like 100-something people, like just enjoying a comedy show.
You sure it was a comedy show?
It was a comedy show. It was a comedy show. I performed.
What's the weirdest city you've ever been to? Mine has to be Cleveland. I know New Orleans is a weird city, but Cleveland was weird because the sun never comes out. The whole city. It's like if you go to downtown St. Pete, imagine if downtown St. Pete smelled like absolute shit. There's this part of Cleveland that has all these nice bars, but it's -10 out, and it reeks of shit because of the factories.
You know what? If I had to say the weirdest, I would have to say Montreal.
Ooh, Canada, nice.
Yeah, the reason I say Montreal is because my whole family, like, we're all Haitians and stuff, and everybody in my family like speaks French. And when you go to Montreal, downtown Montreal is like real hood. Like,
Are you serious?
It's hood. Like, there are no white people. Like, I'm telling you, like, you would think like every block is like a Young Thug music video. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's like The Wire.
It's all hood, and the violence there. It's real. Like, it's real prostitutes. But here is the real part that kind of like mind screwed me a little bit. They all only speak French. Like, it's everything you would imagine in a hood. It's everything a hood would look like, but they just speak French.
That sounds weird.
They just speak French.
Toi.
Yeah, they just speak French, and it's just like, whoa, this is kind of, and that kind of just threw me back. So I guess it wouldn't be weird, but just for the sole fact,
I am looking at it. It has a very weird vibe of a ghetto city. It's like going to Gary, Indiana, or Camden, and it's weird that the Montreal hockey team plays there. They used to have a baseball team. You would think it would be a classy city. It's fucking Canada.
It's just different. So I don't know. The French speak, it just threw me off, and I was like, whoa, okay. So you kind of take them serious, but then you're like, oh, kind of sounds romantic. It
doesn't have much of a skyline either. It's just a bunch of buildings in a row.
Yeah,
it's like a bunch of Lego blocks just chilling.
But the Montreal Comedy Festival is not even shot in that area.
Just for laughs?
Yeah. It's shot. It's filmed and shot and done actually way up north toward the city, away from all that.
Well, yeah.
And that's how they fit so many white people in that room. Because every time I've watched a clip of Just for Laughs, I'm like, where did they get all these white people from?
Yeah.
There's no way.
How did they make them agree to come to the city?
How did they do it? And so if I ever get to that point doing comedy, that's something that I want to make sure I find out.
How are you going to make sure that you get to that point? I left you speechless. You got to think about it for a second, man.
I think you. Of course, the number one is, of course, getting funnier. 2, travel way more. 3, running into the right people.
Yeah.
And also, you understand, I also have some, I also have some personal things I need to make sure I do, for myself.
Like what?
In terms of meeting my goals.
And not knocking up a girl.
Yeah, that too. You can't knock up a girl.
Oh my God, is that killer?
You can't knock up a girl. You can't.
I know people that are 25, man, and I'm like, oh God, like, what are you doing?
That ruins everything. The key to success is being single. That is the key, and I get that. I get that all the time.
I don't know why I would ever want to be a father. I don't think I'm father material, man. I am way too self-centered.
You don't think so?
I just broke up with my girlfriend. Now listen, it's my first relationship. Now listen, it was just 7 weeks. But the first 3 weeks, the 4 weeks when she was putting out, it was fun. But then the last 3 weeks when she's not putting out, I said to her during an argument, I'm like, this is like we're married. And I'm thinking, imagine being with her for eternity and you have kids that are shitting and wanting to play Legos and wanting you to take them to McDonald's all the time. I'm like, I can't do this.
Well,
I want to watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force and The Wire when I want. I don't want to watch Pretty Little Liars and just get a hand job.
Well, okay. Okay, well, did you love her? Did you actually love her? Or you could say, nah, it was just a thing.
Did I love a girl that I knew for 7 weeks? No, Jonas. I never at any point said, gee, I love this girl.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Why? Have you ever gone out with a girl and been like, oh, I love her 3 weeks in?
Yeah, this happened to me. But that's that. I'm gonna tell you something. But that's me though. I'm different. Like, I know, like, when I want something, I want something. I
think you're saying that because you want to keep getting sex, so you're trying to act like you love her so that she feels the vibe of love. So then she'll go down on you tonight or whatever.
I'm trying to be the smoothest guy on the #1 podcast. You blew my cover. You blew it, Ryan. You blew it.
If you want to walk out, that's fine.
You blew. Thank you. Thank you. You absolutely, there it is.
Any girl that thinks that a 24-year-old is in love with them is a moron.
You know what? No, I will tell you this. I do want to be a father, but I think the best way I could be a father, like being the most perfect scenario I could raise children, and I know this sounds harsh, it was if I was filthy rich and I just didn't have the mother just wasn't there. You understand?
So you want to be a single father?
A single father. With money, lots of money though. You understand?
Here's the problem. In the business that I want to go into, let's say I were to do a morning show in Cincinnati. I then get fired.
Mm-hmm.
And then a month later, they say, do you want to do a morning show in Wichita? You can't just move. Your kids have friends there. They might be playing sports.
Correct.
They might already like the school they go to. That's why I don't know if I ever want kids. It's because I just want to be able to pack up. Maybe I'll want a girl that you're with, but not like a wife, like a partner. Like my aunt, my half-aunt's like that, where she's been with this dude for 30 years. I just don't like the idea where you have to split something with somebody. You know what I mean? It sounds horrifying.
That's not always a bad thing. What I'm starting to realize, when kids start taking a toll on the relationship, is like the different point of views, right? So you feel like you should raise your kids a certain kind of way, and she feels like they should be raised this certain kind of way. And as they get older, your views are going to change, and they keep constantly clashing and colliding and breaking with each other, and that's going to take a toll on the relationship. You want to beat the hell out because you want to beat them because you don't want them to turn out, a freaking criminal. And she's like, no, you should kiss them every time they steal, and you just see it in those views just. And you're looking at her like she's absolutely wrong and vice versa.
I think what's horrifying about the relationship I was in was how fast things turned for the worse. And you go, well, that's what could happen if you're married for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 10 years and then one day, something could change. It was how quickly she changed and how quickly she became content. And she was having me do things for her, like drive her to work, and she would sleep over, and she wouldn't put out. And I'm not all about sex. But what I hate
Sounds
is
like it.
No. What I mean is
like
no. What I mean is we only went out for 7 weeks, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be humping like a bunch of jackrabbits. You're not supposed to be just not having anything for 3 weeks.
So what would have happened if you guys had gotten married? If you decided to marry her, and then the sex kind of slows down after that, what do you do?
I would have got an Uber.
Okay.
I would have gone down to Howard Franklin.
Okay.
Would have jumped out.
Okay.
And jumped off the bridge.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't know. I would not even want to think about that. It is frightening to think about potentially being married to that girl. She was a very sweet girl. She was okay. But oh boy, did she change real fast, and I felt like I was whipped.
Wow. That happens all the time, though. I promise you're not the exception. That happens all the time.
And it was just the lack of emotion. It wasn't even the sex part. It was more, I feel like she was using me because she liked the idea of me being a boyfriend, but she didn't really like me as a boyfriend. Like, we got into this argument, and it was just like, I feel like I'm married. And that's what I said to her, and she goes, well, that's not a good thing. And I'm like, The relationship was making me into a very selfish person, which is why I'm a very selfish, needy person. And that's why I don't think I'm ever boyfriend material.
You don't think ever?
I don't know, man. I think I got to find the right one. The guy I work here in promotions, John Senning, one of my bosses, says he thinks I need to find a girl who's willing to work on a project. Because I was such an awkward kid growing up that now I'm kind of growing as a person later in life. A lot of people would grow once they're in college. No. I went to a community college. Then I went to a radio school. Then I was on the biggest show in Cleveland. Now I'm in Tampa Bay. I've taken a different route in life where I've always wanted to work in radio. So I have this ego I'm trying to bring down, but I'm so focused on radio, I think it turns girls off.
Are you a single child?
Yes.
No, that's it. That's all you had to say. We just saved ourselves. We just saved ourselves 10 minutes. We just saved ourselves 10 minutes on this show. That's all you had to say. That's all you had. I immediately knew it. We just saved ourselves. There you go. We got to the bottom of it. That's
Why?
all it
How
was.
could you tell?
That's all. I'm the oldest of three. I had the sibling thing. I just posted a picture on Facebook for Siblings Day and all that and yada yada. I'm the oldest of three. I've always had to share everything. And I'm the oldest of a sister. And my sister she's hot. And, so I'm protective. You
Is
understand?
it weird when you, meet the boyfriend and you don't get a good vibe and you're like, you're just trying to bang my sis. What are you doing?
You know what? She's never had a boyfriend, but I have seen her be friends with guys or see guys that come around her that do give off that vibe.
And then the thing is, I'm assuming that she's a sweet girl where I feel like a lot of times girls want to think that the guy's just with them to hang out.
Correct.
It's like, no, they're trying to bang you.
Well, here's the thing. She's the youngest of us all. and she's smart. So I know it's kind of weird, but I don't have to worry about her because I used to I used to do my thing back in the day. She watched Big Bro do her thing back in the day.
You pulled in some bitches.
Yeah, you know, she watched Big Bro do her thing back in the day, and she's learned. You know, she's learned. She's learned. She understands and she sees right through it so quick. So I never have to
Would you
worry
say
about
you're
it.
a bad person back in the day? You just kind of use girls. Ooh, I care about you. Go down on me.
You know what? No, I wouldn't say I was bad. I think I was just figuring it out like everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's all. I don't think I'm a bad person. I think I was just
I don't know,
figuring it
dude.
out.
It's just
Understand?
weird. I'm like figuring things out, and I've really grown as a person over the last year. But I feel like the growing I've done should have happened between the age of 18 to 20. It's just I feel like I'm a little bit late to the party.
That happens. That can happen. That can happen.
But at least I'm not 30.
Correct. That can happen. I mean, I was exposed to a lot at like 14. So by the time I got into college, I was over it.
What happened at the age of 14?
No, 14. Like I was already just doing stuff. I wasn't, I wasn't supposed to be. You understand? I was already doing all kinds of weird
Weed,
stuff.
drinking,
All that.
having sex with girls.
All that. So at a very young age, so it was crazy when I graduated high school and got right into college. Like I didn't care for it.
Where'd you go? To school. Where'd you go to
Oh
college?
no. I went to HCC first, and then after that I graduated from USF. And after I went ahead and did all that, but the second I started, and then it was kind of weird because the second I got into college, like people were just starting getting into it and stuff like that, like, and they were like, yeah, let's go out, and I was like, dude, I was mentally at like 21, I was like 30.
It's
and I just
weird.
stayed in the house.
That's how my girlfriend was too. She's done so much in her life. Things happen to her where I'd be like, come on, let's go to St. Pete. Let's get drunk. And she'd be like, but I want to watch Pretty Little Liars. And she would explain how she's just been through so much in her life that she
Correct.
didn't really want to do anything. And that's when I was like, I'm a hyper jackrabbit. I want to go out. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like,
When was your heyday? When did you start doing all your stuff and going out?
when I turned 21 and I moved to Cleveland and I worked for Rover's Morning Glory and my apartment was right next to all the bars in Cleveland, that's when I got my heyday. And then moving here, when I'm not doing radio, I'll go out to the bars maybe 3 to 4 times every few months, and it's always fun going to downtown St. Pete. But the thing is, I don't know. It just gets boring at times. Like, I want to go to a house party. I want to party. I don't like bar hopping at times because you're just like, I'm paying money to drink, and then you go home and you Uber home because I'll never drive drunk, and then you're like, that was nice. I spent $30 on drinks, and I just ate way too much pizza in downtown St. Pete for that. Like, I want my nights to be really fun, and I feel like the Tampa side might be a little more crazier.
I think Tampa nightlife I think is dope. I was a bouncer at a nightclub for about 2 years. I was a bouncer over at Prana in Ybor City.
How safe was that?
Oh man, dude, it was the most exciting. And you know what? I think that's another thing that killed my essence about going out. Ever since as soon as I got into college, I've always had to be out late nights. So every opportunity I got to stay home, I just wanted to do that. But yeah, I was a bouncer at Prana for about 2 years. And that was hella fun. I learned a lot.
What was so hella fun about it?
The people you're working with. You have to understand, like, when you see a bouncer at Ybor City, you have to understand that a lot of these people, this is a last resort job for these people.
Being a bouncer.
Yes, it's a last resort job because you understand they have a record. They've killed somebody.
Really?
You understand? Yes. You meet some of the most twisted people. Or they're exceptionally very greedy. Every bouncer I've ever met, they all have this one vice. It's this vice, and it's so strong. Like, it's crazy.
What's your vice?
I'm not gonna put that on air. I'm not gonna put that on the number one. I'm not gonna put that on the number one podcast on Tampa
Dude,
Bay.
I have a big head. I have a big body. You don't need to make my ego that big. Enough with the number one. Like, before we're doing the show, I get that you have to Snapchat, but you're like, this guy's number one. It's like, don't make my ego big
You
enough.
understand? I'm not gonna. But that's just
Yeah,
me.
I know.
So everybody had their own little vice and.
Did you get through the vice? Are you over it?
No, it's still there. Of course I still. I'd be lying to you if I tell you. That. But it's kind of like then I got into comedy, and it's like every really good comedian I've ever met, professional or amateur or open, every really good comedian I've ever met, like, it's like they all have that one thing about them That's like
anybody who's creative has a weird mind.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we all know that. But when you can see what's wrong with them, it's like that thing. It's like, man, if you could just fix that, you'd be the perfect person. But you wouldn't do this no more.
I've really grown out of my shell, and I'm less awkward in public. But like last night when I was doing the Rocket Man suit for Mail Electronic, I was so nervous, but it felt good that no one could see my face. And I'm thinking, I'm not doing a good job. But I go back to the suite, and Kelta's like, you fucking killed it. Mine is a lack of confidence where I get kind of nervous in social situations because I'm so tall that I know everyone's potentially looking at me.
Yes.
And then
I was looking at you when I walked in. You are a very tall person, Ryan.
Dude, it's weird how everyone always looks at me, and I'm trying to figure out how to carry myself. Getting this job in Tampa has really grown me as a person. It's just, at times it's overwhelming when I'm at a bar and you're a little tipsy. I never get blackout drunk. I just get tipsy or drunk, and I always Uber home. I'm always safe about it. But walking through the crowd, you're trying to go to the bathroom, and the girls are in the way. You're trying not to walk on their shoes. Dude, being 6'9" comes with a lot of responsibilities.
It is. I can imagine. And it's weird. And it's kind of a vice thing, too, because I don't want to say that's a vice. But I just feel like it's kind of because there are certain things that you want to do that you can't do because you're just tall like that. And it was kind of the same thing with me. Like I'm very prone to putting on muscle. And I could get bodybuilder big, and I choose not to.
Oh, what a horrible thing, getting in shape. Heaven forbid.
No. No, not like getting in shape. I'm talking like bodybuilder.
Heaven forbid.
No.
What a vice.
No.
Getting in shape.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something right now.
Yeah.
The average person who has the physique like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, does, they live miserable lives. It's not an easy thing to. One, there's a lot of things you want to do you can't do. There's a lot of clothes you want to wear you can't wear. There's a lot of cars you can be in, but it's cars you have to drive because you can't drive anything else.
I just want to be a person with a six-pack. My thing is, I go to the gym, I'm getting in better shape, but the thing is, I just eat crappy.
Okay.
Not
okay.
awful, but it's
that's
like
one thing.
After a long day, I'm going to get fast food because I don't have enough time to cook.
Correct.
It's meal prep.
Correct.
That's why I need a girlfriend to cook me food.
No. And also keep in mind, Ryan, you're abnormally tall. You're not freakishly tall. Do you understand me? Like, so you're not like a freak of nature tall. You're just tall.
Yeah, I'm not like 7'4". I'm not like the guy in the Guinness Book of World Records that we all grew up reading.
I'm usually the tallest and biggest guy in the room. So when I always find somebody like taller or bigger, it just
that's
blows
weird
me
too.
away.
Whenever I'm at the bar, I saw this guy about 2 weeks ago at the bar. Dude, it was unreal. He's like 7'1", he's white, and I'm just like, I'm looking up at him, and I'm just like, that's how everybody views me, 24/7, 365. You know what I mean?
How does that make you feel though? When you do you feel insecure about your height when you run into somebody taller than you?
I don't know, man. I just feel weird about it because I'm not coordinated, and it's just I'm sick of hearing, do you play basketball? I try to be positive. I try to go, they're having a conversation with me. They never see someone that is that tall, so it's like an experience for them. I get that you don't see someone that's 6'9" all the time, but please, for the love of God, quit asking if I played basketball.
That's what you get. Wow.
And
that's
dude,
reasonable.
I can go to Winn-Dixie. I can go to the gym. I can go to the dentist. I can go to anywhere, and they always have to ask me, how tall are you? Or do you play basketball? Like, I'll be in line, and I'll see that they're observing me. And then you just know, for being on Earth for 22 years, you know when they're going to go, how tall are you? You play basketball? It's just, come on, stop.
But you look, it's not even about your height, but it's also about your face. Like, you look like the typical college ball player, like his senior year.
That's what Who Kid said. He said I look like Larry Bird's kid.
Perfect. Shout out to Woo Kid. Shout out to Woo Kid. That's perfect. That's perfect. That was good. That is yes. Woo Kid took the words right out my mouth. From yes.
He was like, he began the show by saying, you looked a little weird, like Larry Bird's son.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So when did you realize, all right, maybe I'm taller than the average person? And did you go through that phase where you tried playing sports and stuff like that?
Did I go through the phase of trying to play sports?
Mm-hmm.
In 7th grade, I tried out for the basketball team. I couldn't even make the B team. 8th grade, I tried out. Couldn't even make the B team. I went to basketball camps. I was so uncoordinated, and I didn't have any siblings growing up that I had no leadership. But I think if I would have had a sibling and I wasn't made fun of so much as a kid, I maybe could have played. I just never get why they couldn't just put me on the bench as like a red coat and just have me just sit there. I never got why they're like, you're 6'9", sorry, you're uncoordinated, bye. Like, it felt like they never were even willing to work with me to even use any of my potential. Like, I'm 6'9", you could have done something.
Correct.
I wouldn't have been good. Yeah, that was the thing too. Fucking high school coaches can kiss my ass. Yeah, because these games are so important. I get that you're paid to win. I get that you're paid to be the best coach possible. But heaven forbid you have me on the team. Oh, heaven forbid. Oh, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm not saying you put me in the game ever, but to just exclude me, kiss my fucking ass.
It's, you know what it is?
You know what I mean?
I get it. It's a do or die situation for you, because when you walk in, because I'm also an actor, right? Like I do theater, and I do auditions all the time for acting in plays and stuff like that in different theater companies.
You're very artsy.
Yes, definitely. So this is what every director does, and I feel like every facet in management, whether like a coach in sports, a director, a comedy club booker, TV producer, when you walk in the room, the first thing they're gonna do is look at you, and in their mind, they're gonna let you speak for 10 seconds, and they already have an idea for you, and they already know whether they want you or not. So what happens is, now, if they look at Ryan Hoppe and go, he's 6'9", he looks like he can be the next, he could be go ahead and draft it on, to go pro, and you don't meet up to the expectations in their head, like any director, you're automatically casted off. They don't need to make you a backup study or second up.
That is a very valid point, because back then, at my highest, in my senior year of high school in 2011 and 2012, I was 285 pounds. I had a big belly. I'm not going to exclude my last rant. Mm-hmm. It's how I believe. But I do see your point of view where it's like they don't have enough time to make something out of me. But at the same time,
it sounds cold, and I don't think it doesn't justify it either. It's just how it works.
They just want to win immediately. These guys are so competitive because they're overcompensating for the fact that they were backups in high school and they never played in college, so they take this as their real gig. High school coaches are some of the most biggest douchebags with the biggest egos. They realize that they are nothing to this earth.
I agree with that.
Oh, it's sickening.
To an extent, I think the football high school coaches are worse, because down here, I'm from New York, but up north we played football in school. But down here, like, high school football is a deal here. Like, I think that's going to be the next thing. I think that's going to be like a level of professional, college, and high school.
If they're potentially douchebags here, imagine being in Texas. Oh dear Lord.
Oh my goodness, Texas, forget it. Go Longhorns.
Why? Why? What are you, a Vince Young fan? That's when I liked him.
Here's the thing. I went through my phase, right, where I tried playing sports and all that. And I played football since like my 6th grade in middle school. And up north they have you in pads in middle school playing football. Yeah. And I went through that phase, and I did okay. And that was about it. But that's just what my coach just kind of sat me down, and he just goes, Jonas, I think you can do it, but I don't think you want to. Yeah. And it was the most truthful thing I've ever heard in my life.
Were you heartbroken?
I kind of was, but then when I look back at it now, he just saved me so much time. There was so much pressure on me to like really do it, and when I look back at it, I really think I could have done it. Yes. I really think I could have done it, but I'm just happy he saved me that time.
Has anybody said that to you about comedy?
About what? Like,
just quit?
No.
That's good.
Never. The first time I ever did it, though, was just kind of intimidating. And it was, they had a program in New York. It's all about the arts, keeping kids off the street. They say, hey, you want to try comedy? And they all let us go to the Comedy Cellar during the day. Yeah. 2 p.m. during the day. It was a bunch of older guys in trunks. I went ahead. They were like, just try it. I went ahead and tried it. I did horrible. And this guy came up to me at 16 and just scarred me for life about like.
What did he say?
He was drunk and he was smoking and he goes, kid, listen to me. That other kid was funny, but you're not good. You're not good ever. And I was like, he didn't tell me to quit, I guess. But I just took it as is. But
it pumps you up because I've had that before too about radio. It just makes you even more motivated.
Yeah. So when I tried it again, I've always figured that same guy would but he's never been around. And I think if he see me now, I don't think he'd say that anymore.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? How do you see this playing out for Jonas?
5 years?
Yeah. In 2021, where do you want to be? You'll be 29.
I wanna have these braces off.
Yeah. Why do you have braces on?
My teeth were messed up, pretty bad.
Mine were too. Mine aren't the best now because I had braces 10 years ago, but I never got what's the thing after?
Retainer?
I never completed the retainer because I hated wearing it, so
Really?
it just went back to being average.
It was a real medical reason. I just got them. I want to have these braces off. I want to lose more weight. I definitely want to move out of Tampa. I either want to be in New York, Atlanta, somewhere up in the East Coast. Just not in Florida. Not in Florida. Maybe in a relationship. I know I want kids.
You seem
not
like
by
a father
20.
type.
Yeah, not by 29 though.
I say 37. I think I want to have kids when I'm like 40 because I want to have my 30s be just as much of a party life as my 20s, but in a way that I want to be in the position of a media figure where I'm like a Mike Kelter or a Drew Garabo where I get invited to do Bolt Social at Tampa Bay Lightning games.
That's a good deal.
That's what I want to be, is something where I can go in the VIP suites of games. I want to go to concerts. I never want to have to go, crap, I don't have a babysitter.
Do you want to stay here in Tampa?
Wherever the road takes me, I'll go. I never would have thought 2 years ago that I would work for the biggest show in Cleveland, get fired, and then a month later be in Tampa Bay, and then a year later, after being in Tampa Bay, having everything that's happened to me. I'm so grateful for it. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. I never know where I'm going to be in a week. Like, I just found out 2 days ago, do you want to be Rocket Man for the electronic Rocket Man at the Lightning game? I didn't know about this until Thursday. I did it Friday. I didn't know I was going to work a gig where I met Rumble Johnson from the UFC until 2 hours before when they said, can you work an event for the Bone? Like, things that happened in my life, I swear to God, just kind of happened fast. I sent a tweet to Charlemagne. He adds me back. I interviewed Jim Norton on Mike Kelter's show. He liked me so much. I interviewed him at Side Splitters. Like, my life has been such a weird ride that I don't know where I'm going to be next week.
But I think that's one of the coolest ways to like let things happen. You understand?
Of course.
Because it's weird. Like with comedy, like there's always people telling me, Jonas, you need to put on your own shows. You need to put on your own shows. You need to put on your own shows.
You
or
should.
And it's like, and it's weird because ever since I've never really had a problem getting shows. Like it's just other people that just appreciate me, and I'm always grateful for that. Like I never take that for granted.
Yeah.
That they want to put on this show that's going to make money, and they think that, you know what, Jonas can contribute a good vibe for that. I don't take that for granted in the slightest bit. And in some way, I've never had to put on a show, and I remain busy in comedy. And that's like,
you should put on a show though. You should try to headline.
You think I should?
Yeah, I think you're ready, dude. I wasn't sure about you coming in. I knew good things about you, but dude, you are so well spoken.
Thank you.
You don't seem like you're 24. When you told me you're 24, I thought you were going to say you're 29, and you just looked young.
How old did you think I was?
29 or 30. Just the way you carry yourself, you come off so much older. It's
Correct.
impressive.
Thank
People
you.
say the same thing about me on air. They're like, "You're 22."
I feel the same. Your voice is not 20. Your voice is not 22.
Sounds like a 40-year-old. They've been through a lot in life.
A 35-year-old. You understand? A 35-year-old who's been on series for about 3 years.
You really mean that?
Yeah.
What do I sound like? Like you would think I've been on the radio before?
Yes, I would
Wow.
think you've been on the radio before. Been fired because you pissed off or slept with like the head. You slept with like the head's wife or something. You understand? This is like a mix of professional but also douchebag. You understand? So it's like so it works. It works. So that's why you sound so much more older than how you really sound. So it sounds like you've really been through some real milestones in your profession, but you've just made some real douchey mistakes, and now you're here back.
I got fired by the biggest show in Cleveland in an embarrassing fashion that any listener of the show knows about. Dude, you are really good at reading me. And then I got a second chance here in Tampa Bay. Shout out to Rob Gargiulo, who worked for the previous show in Cleveland, who helped me get the foot in the door. You basically just described my life. You are really good at reading people, dude. I'm creeped out.
All from your voice. All from your voice. All from your voice. That's it. I get the vibe. All from the voice. It's just the vibe. So
because I have the ranting voice and then I have the interview voice.
So it's kind of dope, and I just respect you for that.
Well, dude, where can people find your work, and what are some of your upcoming shows?
Upcoming shows. Again, next week, I will be at Bulla Cafe out there in St. Pete. On Thursday, they're putting together a show. I'll be a part of that. April 24th, I'll be doing an Adrenaline Junkie show over with Rio Paris.
Gotta go.
Yep. That's going to be there.
No, I meant like people should go. Not like you got to go.
Oh,
get the
okay.
Fuck out of here,
I was about to get out.
Yeah, get out of here, you piece of shit. No, I meant everyone needs to go see you in Rio Paris. So what's that show again?
Yes, Adrenaline Junkie shows super high octane comedy. That's gonna be over. 1412 West Waters Avenue. That's gonna be at 6:30 p.m. April 24th, and then May 25th, I'll be at the Tampa Improv along with Sloan.
Here's what you should do. Whenever you have a show you need me to promote, message me it on Facebook, and I'll tweet it out for you at Lafrican American or whatever Rio's name is on Twitter.
American, yeah. Shout
He needs to promote himself more on Twitter. He's got a very smart mind.
That's a discussion me and him have. Oh, I also have stuff on Funny or Die. So at Bitter Big Head, Funny or Die, I have articles on there. I have videos on Funny or Die.
So basically on all social media platforms at Bitter Big Head.
At Bitter Big Head, every social media platform. And the same goes for Funny or Die. I have an article on there about how amazing I think Floyd Mayweather is. And I have a short skit as well.
Bye.
Fuck
Floyd Mayweather. Bye. See ya. Get the fuck out.
They told me to tell you that after we were done. So, so a whole article on there, man. It's great. So just check out my stuff.
I was going to say it was a good show, but when you said how great Floyd Mayweather was.
You can't take it back. Too late, Ryan. Too late.
You're the worst.
Brother, thank you for having me on here, man.
Thank you for coming on. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to finally book it. And I'm glad it was in the comfortable vibe of this room just because I feel like me leaning back and you sitting there, it's easier. We wouldn't have been as close, like on a nice hot date at Dunkin' Donuts.
You made me comfortable in here.
I tried. That's
I
my
was
approach.
sitting up. I laid back. Well done, brother. Well done. Hoppe Hour, #1 podcast.
I appreciate it.
In Tampa Bay.
This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. Bye.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.